Okay, so we have now finished the speaker box. It is painted and got its handle and fully sanded and everything. So now that we're done with that, we are going to work on our lightsabers, which come in two main sizes, 32-inch blade and 36-inch blade. The 36 are the fancier blades, and they're unable to be cut, unfortunately. And so we're going to mainly make a couple 32-inch sheaths, because those are the main sabers that I like and the ones that I have. So I actually did a little bit of work pre-camera recording. So I'll go over what I've got, and then we'll start the saber making process. So I've got I've got more than these, but I got out two 3/4 inch PVC pipes, and we're going to cut a bunch of them to, like I said, 32 and 36 inch. And then after that, we're going to shave them all down. Well, not shave them, sand them all down, and then PVC the ends, the caps to them, PVC glue the caps to them. And then after that, we're going to put some primer on, give that a couple days to dry, and I will now go over my little PVC painting jig that I've got. It's really pretty simple. So okay, so this is the PVC painting jig. Very simple. Literally just a 2x6 that I cut to give it some stability on the ground. A nice big fat 4x4 just to give it some weight. So this thing is super bottom heavy. And then you can see, very similar to like a Hanukkah candle type thing, we've got a bunch of PVC 3/4 inch, but this is the smaller, crappier kind. And you can see, obviously, it fits. It's the same. Even though it's thinner, it still is the correct thickness to fit the caps on. So literally, you just put this thing on the ground, put our Saber hilts in, and, once it's all, sanded and everything. And then these bad boys will obviously go on the end of the Saber hilts. And so then they could put right on top, and then we could just spray paint everything right on top of this. We can do 4 at a time with this jig. Obviously, if I wanted to, I could insert more. It's literally, these things are literally just screwed in horizontally. Nothing crazy. A really simple jig, but it speeds up the process and makes it way super easy to spray paint stuff. So, let's get started making some raw saber hilts. Okay, so I figured showing is better than telling after I just described those different lightsabers. So we've got our cheap, this is my balance model right now. So I'm actually going to be going a little bit shorter with this one on the saber, right? But this is you could see, Alright, so since showing is better than telling, I figured I'd do a quick little demonstration between the good and the bad version, or the, not good and bad, but cheap versus more expensive, right? Some people think cheaper is worse, but in the case where you want to spin sabers around, you're going to be throwing them, you're going to be hitting them, you're going to be whacking them, you probably want to use the cheaper version that looks just as good at night, versus the better version, which is significantly more expensive to replace. And you can see the difference in the blade sizes, and you can see at the end the difference in the blade lengths. So we're going to be making a couple long sheaths for the better sabers, and we're going to be making a couple short sheaths for the cheaper sabers. And so now let's get to it. All right, so first things first in the Saber process, Saber sheath making process, is obviously cut all the PVC, get the PVC fittings, make sure that is all properly sized up. And something that I don't know where I got it from, to be honest. I think I did it with wood. I'm not sure if it's like an everything kind of fix, kind of situation, but I like to put a little bit of painter's tape, masking tape. It comes in blue or it comes in tan. And so I put that around the spot where I'm going to be cutting. And something important as well, and this is kind of just like a in general type thing, got to get the blade up to speed before cutting it. I don't just immediately hit the blade and then right after hitting the blade, put it on the PVC to cut. I let the blade spin up for a second, 2 seconds, let it get sped up, and then boom, make sure I do a nice controlled, not super slow, but not super fast cut. And that's just because the PVC can, in fact, kind of like shatter, split, shear. I'm not really sure the best way to describe it, but it looks like a chunk of it comes out and you don't get a flat cut. So want to make sure that that doesn't happen. And then after I got everything cut, the next step is going to be to sand everything down because, you want the paint to adhere nicely. And well, you want the primer to adhere nicely. And we're going to be sanding a couple times. Like we're going to be, so we sand now. And then after that, we primer. After we primer, we do another round of sanding. Then we paint. I did not sand after that second round of paint this time. In the future, I'm going to do a very light sanding because then after that is the epoxy, or not epoxy, the enamel. I mean, which is kind of like spray epoxy, but epoxy meaning like something that gives it like protection and shine. It's just a thin layer, the enamel. That's, essentially what it does. Just gives it a little bit of shine or a little bit of matte, depending on which type of enamel you get. And then some protection. Just, these are all, it's all temporary stuff, no amount of, I mean, maybe if I dipped this whole thing in enamel, but then the enamel would get damaged instead of the paint, and that amount of epoxy and dipping it all like that, I mean, that would probably make it significantly heavier. And I kind of like these sheaths being a nice weight that's not super duper heavy. And so after all the sanding is done, after all of this is taken care of with all these, then we're going to go through and use our PVC epoxy to cement, or PVC, not PVC epoxy, PVC cement to secure all of the caps and all of the hilt guard aspects to it. Because again, these are very simple sheaths. It's literally, they're made to be just more decorative, temporary. They're easy to return, easy to order. These are just like an add-on to the Sabers. Obviously you don't want, if you're just spending, a couple $100s on a Saber, you don't want the next part of it to also be, multiple hundreds of dollars. And these are not, a super long process, especially in a case like this where I can now do 4 of them at a time that I've made, now that I've made the spray rack. And the spray rack was, I mean, this whole thing, this whole process was great. Between getting everything outside, having everything nice, easy to spray, everything dry, just everything about this process, I am, extremely happy with. And so, shout out to any Patreon people who are watching this or go back and watch this, because these are some of the days where or some of the videos where it's like, hey, we're getting this shit on lock, baby, progress being made. Woo! All right, what's up, nerds? We are on day 2 of making all of these lightsabers. Everything has cured overnight as far as primer goes. So now, I actually did one. I didn't do it on camera, but I actually did a 5th hilt as well. So we've got 5 hilts ready, primed, and ready for the second round of paint. And so before we can do that, first we've got to do one more round of sanding. This is the sanding. Don't get it twisted. That's sanding. We got the sanding paper. That's what we're doing with the sheaths. Okay. Anyway, this time, because yesterday I should have done it, but I didn't, I have a little face mask, even though this probably doesn't do a whole lot, and I should be getting a N95, which is somewhere, who the fuck knows where, but I don't have a whole lot of time to waste looking for that. So, got a mask this time because there is paint we are going to be sanding. And so after that, well, before that, you can see I've got this big black guy right here. And so first things on the menu is going to be making a larger saber holder. However, it's only going to be it's going to be mainly for this is going to be the new version of the thing we made over there, because the thing we made over there to hold the sabers, that's going to be used just the end pieces as opposed to the middle, because we're essentially going to be painting 2 sabers at a time, and then this super long one is essentially going to be the drying one, because today we're going to be doing 2 sabers of similar color, 1 saber of a blue color, and 1 saber of a green color. They're all going to get the same black kind of undertone, but we're going to be doing some different galaxy sort of vibes on them, because I've got, so we're going to be doing like a chrome gray kind of John going on, and then from that we're going to be doing green galaxy highlights and blue galaxy highlights, because the Luke saber colors are blue and green. So that's kind of where that's going to come together. And then the straight black, I'm going to be doing straight black with a red, white, and blue highlight. And so essentially all of those colors, you can have like 2 of them at a time. So that's why this is going to be the big drying rack. And then additionally to being the drying rack, when everything is done, we can spray everything down with our enamel, because that's the final step. Once everything is done, everything's painted, everything's dried, then we go to enamel it all up to protect everything. So that's kind of the play for that. And very quick, I will show you. This is the result of the speaker box from yesterday. Got a little handle on top and got some space in the back for any of the additional sound stuff, because what I'm pretty sure this is going to do is because basically there's a side, there's like an inlet of wood on the side, and so this is going to boop, go right under, and then I can either screw down into it or screw up through it, and then the speaker rests inside with the sound coming out that way. So this is the speaker box. I did a light spray, black spray paint. I'm like, it's kind of light in some areas. It's not really that big of a deal if it's not like pure ultimate black. Honestly, using spray paint on this, probably a waste of spray paint, but fuck it, whatever. So that's where we are at with the projects. And so let's make our big drying rack. All right, so these saber holders that I'm making, well, this saber holder that is multiple sabers is basically going to be the main outside saber holding, rig, essentially. I've got it's the exact same thing as the little guy that you saw a few minutes ago that was being spray painted, or holding things to be spray painted. And I like that one because I can kind of do it inside in case, because this rack is more for like outside. It's significantly larger. It's tough to find a space that I can spray paint, something this big inside. I like that the little guy can just be spray painted inside. And really, when I'm doing these white, spray paints, you know, it was nice having a larger one. So literally all it is just a huge 4x4 with a bunch of the smaller PVCs screwed into it so that I can then literally just take the sabers and put them on top. So that's what I'm doing first. And just like I said before, so after we get the primer done, right, let that sit, spray painted it last night, let it sit. And then after that, smooth everything down. I'm using 400 grit sandpaper. I'm making sure to wear a mask this time because, oh my God, the tiny little bits of paint particles that you're sucking in through your nose, I mean, that shit adds up. And I might in the future get like, I mean, probably should be using an N95 mask. I might get a respirator when I start making these like en masse. But this thing worked out real well. And then I just take some foam to literally just brush all of the extra sandy and extra paint stuff off. Okay, so we've got our sabers sanded, our hilts sanded. We've got the Big 5 holder thing ready to go. Still got the 4-man over there that we're going to use for spray painting some of the sabers 2 at a time. So just to go over some kind of stuff we've got. So I've got my chrome blues, my grays, I've got my black over here actually. I like doing all of this stuff matte, M-A-T-T-E, color, like, you know, kind of type. And then after that, after we do it matte, then we'll do the glossy finish with the enamel. And I've got a couple kind of like chrome kind of stuff, like this pewter kind of color. These ones are the enamels, clear matte enamel. I've also got some glossy enamel over here. I'm going to be doing kind of a little bit of a galaxy red, white, and blue, full black with red, white, and blue highlights in it. And then I've got so first we're going to do 2 all black sabers with kind of like the green and black kind of color scheme, right? Well, or I'm sorry, the green and the blue, the green and the black, because I've got 2 Shadowhunter Darth Maul sabers that are basically my new Luke twirling professional looking sabers, right? So I want to do the 2 hilts for those. That's what these hilts are going to be. And then I've got 2 or 3 additional hilts, and those are going to be kind of more of my testing stuff out with the spray paints. And so I'm going to be, instead of doing I might do the black background, or I might do gray. Maybe I'll do one of them with this pewter gray. But so we've got, you know, I like the hammer forged kind of chrome, like gray chrome looking one. This one's just black. We've got a couple greens. I like this is my favorite Luke Skywalker green, Return of the Jedi green. I do like this blue, dark blue chrome kind of. We've got a more classic blue. I have a lighter blue somewhere that I was looking for. I mean, like, I've got this blue, which is like a baby blue kind of, but I think I would have to use these in some combo together for it to come out the way that I want. And then obviously the white primer. So you'll see how I use the white primer. This is what I use. I give it a very gentle squeeze until I get spurts, and that's how I do kind of the stars of like the galaxy afterwards. But that's kind of the setup. Let's get to some painting. All right, so now it's finally time to get working on the paint. Like I talked about, I've got 2 major paint jobs I'm testing out in this like batch of sabers, saber sheaths. I say saber shilts because there's a guy on the Yankee whose name is Schlittler, and then I was thinking about sheaths, but I said hilts, or I was thinking about hilts, but I said sheaths. Anyways, the point is that I've got a black aesthetic and a silver chrome aesthetic, and so you can see I paint everything black first. Then after I paint everything black, I go through and I do the color details. In this case, I did green on the one side and blue on the other side. I like the blue more. It's a more metallic blue. I'm definitely going to work on getting metallic colors if I can, or metallic spray paints. I think it came out really nice. And then after that, I take the white and I give it just these little highlights of stars. And once I'm done with the highlights, boom, I go over and I put a little bit more green, a little bit more blue on it, take a nice little snap of it, and then it's time to move on to the next two. Actually, for this one, so I had 3 chrome that I'm going to be working on, but 2 of the chrome are similar colors, and one of the chrome is a like triple color. So I just I broke it down into 1 and then 2 afterwards. And because one of these, I wanted to do a red, white, and blue aesthetic because I have another red, white, and blue saber. So this one was kind of the second. I have 2 red, white, and blue sabers. One of them has a sheath. The other one didn't have a sheath. So that's why for this I was like, okay, I already did my 1 red, white, and blue. Or I have my 1 red, white, and blue. Let's do my other red, white, and blue. So that's why this guy's separate, because there's going to be a bunch of different colors and a bunch of little things going on. And behind these, I kind of liked the chrome silver aesthetic. It's definitely not my favorite. I mean, I'm definitely a big guy or a big enjoyer of the black. And at least for now, I think that's going to be the main color that I stick to. The black and blue, the black and green, and the black and red, all of them I think just look great. And these ones look great as well. I think that the saber that they would have to be on would have to be a little bit different of a saber than the ones I have right now. So anyway, like I said, finished off the first one, the red, white, and blue first one. Now we put the two on, the 2 silver chrome ones. We got the green chrome and the blue chrome. Same exact thing. Chrome them up. Then after that, take the blue, take the green, fill in the galaxies. And I think for this one, what would have been cooler is instead of the white stars that I did, I think it would have been sicker if I had done black stars, which I'm only honestly thinking about now in post-production. And so maybe in the future, that'll be something that I work on. But I think for now, I'm just going to be really sticking to the black ones. And once all of these are done being painted, it's time to finally set up our brand new drying rack, which we just did in the beginning of this video. And that lets us put all of our 5 guys on at once. And the nice thing with this thing as well is, duh lets everything dry, but it's nice because now during this step is the epoxy step, the enamel step. And so I don't need to, there's no multiple colors of enamel. Okay, so now the sun has dried everything out. We've got everything on the brand new big drying rack. Let's give it some enamel. So the enamel process is real simple. I just try to make sure that I go a nice up and down, stay along the same rotation. I break it down into quarters or thirds. This enamel that you can actually see really nice from the side is that they all have these multiple different angles on the cap. It's not a cap on top. It's like the spray cap aspect of it. There's 5 or 6 different positions that you can put it on. So I'm spraying the same spot on each saber, then rotating, spraying the other side, and going around and doing this a couple times to to make sure that everything is nice and enameled up. I mean, again, this stuff is going to get, knocked and bounced around a little bit, and I don't expect it to be perfect. However, this does do a very good job of keeping all of the sabers nice and protected, at least, from just traveling around with it in your car, bringing it around places, bumping up against things. The paint doesn't get ruined as quickly. And then, so I'm going to be bringing these on a little, these were actually being brought on a trip, on a promotional selling trip type thing. So I just had some extra protection in there just to make sure that nothing, bumped into each other too crazily. Nothing got damaged during transportation. And so it's actually kind of funny how perfect. So I did this when when I do play golf. Like, my golf bag has PVC inside of the golf bag to keep all of my clubs separate and, nicely organized. And after I had done that, I was like, wait, this actually is kind of nice for lightsaber hilts too. Like, hold up, let me just. And so I ended up picking up some, lightsaber golf bags for the lightsabers, and it ended up working out. All right. Well, what's up, nerds? We are back with another saber making video. So I've got a bunch of different stuff in here. We've got some leather, some electric tape to seal up stuff, the rest of my American flag tape. I've got a couple more different types of some American flag tennis wrap stuff. We've got some leather, some more leathers over here. And so what we're going to do now, we'll zoom out a little bit, is we're going to wrap the second of the American flag sabers. And then after that, we're going to wrap the hilts of the other sabers we've got. And so I'm thinking for this one, I like this. So we've got the two different types of American flag stuff. I really like this grip tape right here, which is the kind of more straight American flag one. And so I'm not sure right now, and it's something that we'll find out, how much this tape will go on. This handle is a little bit wider than a tennis racket handle. So I'm going to start at the bottom and see how far up we make it. And then from there, I'll kind of see. And so I want to keep the ability on the bottom to unscrew. And basically the way that I like to wrap these is, first off, we wrap it nice and tight. And then second is that I'm kind of keeping it right to the American flag part. Oh yeah, I'm going to have plenty of space. Oh God. I'm going to have a little bit extra. So when we get down here, we might have to do a little break. So we're going to get down here, and we're going to go across once. And so now from here, I'm going to try and cut it as cleanly as I can. We've got our nice sharp scissors. And so we're going to cut this as cleanly as I can right here. Oh, that was a good cut. Nice and crisp. And so this is the bottom. And so now we've got the rest of this. And there is this point here until we hit the buttons. So this time I am going to just test it out, because I can go from the top or I can go from the bottom. And this time with the buttons, I might do a little bit more of a side angle. Let's see how this goes. Or I can just straight wrap the bottom like this, but there's not as much, I know this is sticky, but there's not as much surface area. And let me just turn that off for now. I can try and wrap over the buttons, which I will try. So let's see how it goes if I kind of try and go over. So I think that's best if I go like this. See if I can go like this and then go around a bit more. Let's see. Oh, it's gonna be a little tough. The buttons up and down are definitely higher. So I might just go from the buttons down. So start at the top of the buttons and go down and around like this. That kind of does not work as well as I would have thought. So I might just save this extra and then bring out the other part of the saber and do it for that, because I do also have the leftover American flag of this American flag grip, and this can also go, this is much easier to go around like this. Yeah, this is much better. And so let's do this for the one side. Okay, beautiful. And cut this and seal this off. And so I've got a little bit on the bottom, but I also have a nice grip area on the top. The buttons are clean. The bottom is nice, separate, good grip on the bottom. So I like this. We'll go with that for this one. Okay, so now we're going to do another Sith saber, but this time I'm also going to wrap the top, I believe. Even though this does look really nice, I'm going to just wrap the black on top, and then I'm thinking I'm just going to do a nice classy straight black, just no anything, a nice classy straight black. And because the top of this is a little fucked, just a little bit, and so I want to try and seal this up nice. So let's just do a little test run. That's nice. It's a little thick, but that's okay. And then the other stuff that I've got for this is just a kind of straight black patch. Straight black leather patch, which can go around like this, or it can go up and down like this, which I kind of like the up and down. So let's see, because first I can do the up and down on it. And that looks pretty good. A little too long, slightly. So I need to cut this kind of bottom part just a little bit. Try and make sure I get it nice and straight. That looks pretty good. Oh yeah. Okay. So let's try and add this on. And so let's take the top of this off. So now we're going to start at the top. Because I want to make sure that this goes all the way around the top, which it's not. That's okay. So this pretty much seals up all the way around the top. And so now, all I need, I might do now, this, so I've got this black patch, and I kind of like how that would go around this. Let's see. Will it go all the way around with this piece? Oh, it'll go all the way around with this piece. All right, so let's cut this part out. Boom. So now let's put this bad boy on. Oh. Okay, perfect. And it just needs a, that part's pretty straight. So if we go by the top will be good. And the bottom is kind of hanging off by a little bit. Looks like it's kind of these buttons right here. And what I like about this one is that you can cut it along the holes that's already on this thing. Oh yeah, that's looking bueno. And then I think maybe just cut the right along this top row right here. And I think it'll look great. Perfect. Yes, sir. Okay. So now let's take this. I'm going to start on the open part up here. Yep. Wrap it nice and tight. Beautiful. And so now it's a little wrinkly, just a little bit. That's going to be fine because we got the hands. So now the last thing that I'm going to do is take some electrical tape and just wrap the bottom of this with some electrical tape just to make it, give it that last final clean look to it. So, make sure it goes all the way around. The only thing that stinks about this part is I wish I had a way to cut this electrical tape in half, because that would really seal it up nice. but I do like the way this handle, I do like the way this handle is. Boom. Nice, perfect leather grip. And so now I've got this middle section right here, right? And this is where I'm going to pull out more of this wrap that I've got and take a look and see how this goes around. So it looks like what I'm thinking about doing is going something like this, right? And I'm gonna see, because this stuff does not come all the way in, which is perfect. And really what I need to do right now is essentially just get the bottom of this off, and then from here I just need to go a little bit around the outside. So I'm just going to do just a little bit around the outside like this to shave off the outside. Boom. So cut that little square like this. And then back over here as well. Cut a little square like this. Okay. Boom. Cut that little square. Cut this little square. And then now go nice and straight across like this. And then take this piece and we're going to start, right next to the button over here. Give the button some space. Yep. Then go all the way around and try to match up with the other side, which I didn't cut perfect, but that's okay. Happy little mistakes. And so we're going to go up like that, boom, down and in like that, boom, and then a cheeky little cut right there. Cheeky little cut like that. Boom. Okay, not bad. Eventually, definitely going to end up getting one of those Cricut vinyl cutters, you know, something like that. So that I don't, you know, I'm not cutting this with a scissor, obviously. And if I was, you know, at home, definitely would want to use an X-Acto blade, right? But that right there comes right around, right down the middle. Boom. Nice and tight. Great leather fit. Boom. And then now, the final piece for this part is going to be electrical tape and wrap of this. So I'm going to give this a nice wrap on top, which is going to go to about here. So we're going to cut this right here. cut this right here, boom. This is going to go right around the end of this. And so let's get this out of the way. All right. Boom. All the way around the top. Nice and flush. And then we're going to kind of circle it around like this on the way down. And that's because we are going to give it a bit of grip on the bottom. And that grip tape that I had to put around the bottom is right here. All right, perfect. Got a nice grip tape along the bottom. And take one of these, boom, cut it like that, cut it like that, and then a nice strip once I find the spot. Here we go, right in the middle. And then get a nice tight and then go around to right here. Snip, boom. There we go. The electrical tape and the other grip tape sealed up on the same side. Nice, good grip, feeling good. And then take this, boom. One, grip taped on the bottom, grip taped on the top, leather, completed, full saber. Boom.
Like the vid, leave a word, drop a comment, hit absurd, subscribe if you had some fun. We drop bangers one by one, check the description down below for all the links you need to know. Thanks for watching, you're the best. Now